Well, hey, everybody. We are live, and it's nice to see so many people in already. Hi, you guys. Let's see. Man, you guys have been just chatting. Lise is in. Jar Jar, Wheels, Ghost. I'm going all the way to the top. Grill Man, skipping down a bunch. Tara Patton's in. Amy's here. We know Amy's here because she'll be on screen with me shortly. Johnny's here. Intrepid Exotics is in. Hi, Tim. Good to see you. Jason's here. Azara, Savannah. Hi, everybody. Okay. If I didn't say your name, sorry about that. I can't go down this entire list. Everybody is saying hello. That's really nice. So welcome to the new green room, you guys. I've got Handsome Dan here with me. I figured it would be fitting to have the mascot of the green room with me during the first live stream from the new place. I'm drinking Monkey Shoulder, which I think is a scotch that proves that you don't have to be fancy and expensive to have a decent scotch. It's blended. There's nothing crazy about it. It's not challenging or anything. It's just a nice scotch that's not very expensive. And at least in California, you can get it at the grocery store. So that is what I'm drinking. It's been busy here, getting things squared away and getting the first thing was to get the green room set up, the snake room area. And then I'm slowly getting all my stuff situated. And you know, it's nice. We'll talk about it in a little bit as more people jump on. We'll start talking about it a little bit more. Let's say hi to Amy Bentley. Amy, I'm adding you to the stage right now. Hi, Amy.
Hi, guys. How's it going?
Good. So Amy is going to be here to flag me if I miss a super chat and anything else that needs addressing.
Yeah.
I'm getting
Look, I have a friend.
Oh, who do you
hiding.
got? Look at that
Colin.
little guy. Look at Colin Robinson. That's a snake that hatched out here in the green room.
I think his little face is down here somewhere. Oh, wow. He's really tucked it right in the center.
He's so handsome.
He's really good.
That guy's color, you can't tell on screen, but man, when you see him in person, his color is so amazing.
It's insane.
I'm gonna try to let Handsome Dan go up on my hat. So anyway, so Amy will flag me if I miss a super chat. And the reason that you might want a super chat is if you want me to see your question or comment, because I'm not going to see them all. I say this on every live stream, and it's because we have so many new people on each live stream. And I always look at the chat the next day and I see that people have been frantically trying to ask me questions and I don't see those. So I'll see it if you super chat it, or don't super chat it, just ask the question and keep an eye on the chat, because there are other experienced snake keepers who will answer your question if you don't want it to necessarily come from me. So there's that. Amy, thanks for being here.
You're very welcome. Happy to be here.
Okay. I'm going to put you backstage.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Okay. So we'll let Handsome Dan get settled on the hat. You guys, I have my air conditioning going full blast right now. Actually, it may not be going full blast, but it needs to be. I might need to change it. Oh, Garrett's in. Hey, Garrett. What's happening, man? Garrett, I'm going to talk about the move right now. Jen's in with high-vis pythons. So am I on full blast on that thing? It should be, because it's 110 degrees outside, you guys. It's freaking nuts. So I don't know if I got a new mic situation here, and it's supposed to block the sound of the AC, and I think it is. I think it's doing all right. But I'm sure you can hear it because I have a fan on me as well. It's pretty crazy. All right. I am going to turn that AC up just in case somebody just said that. Ghost, I am about to do that. Hang on, you guys. 1 second. I just want to make sure it's on full blast. Now it is. It's in the mid 80s right now where I'm at. Like sitting right here in this room, it's in the mid 80s. Oops, that's backwards. Okay, so you guys, last time I did a live stream, I was stressed, and I told you guys about the situation that I had to vacate the green room because it was non-permitted when it was built many years ago, and the city is requiring that it be torn down. So I was pretty stressed because I didn't know where I was going to go. And now, one live stream later, I'm in a new place. I'm just going to pull Handsome Dan off my hat because this is becoming a problem. So I'm in a new place, which is really exciting and very fortuitous that I found it. It's oh, Amy's flagging me. It's 1 mile from where I was before, which is crazy. I thought I might have to move out of state. Hang on, I'm going to finish the story in a second. Hi, Amy.
Hi. How's it going?
Good.
Just so you know, your video quality is like really super pixelated. I know your internet was doing weird things earlier, but
Okay.
that is like the whole chat room right now is like, is it just me or is everything super fuzzy?
You know what, you guys? It's 110 degrees, and it might just be that Spectrum is melting. Like, you never know. So there's not much I can do about that. Hopefully it fixes. Is it looking better at this point? Or no? Because it looks good on my end, but yeah, it looks great on my end. But I don't know how it's broadcasting. Okay, thanks for letting me know. So anyway, cut to the next live stream, and I've got a new place. I moved. Here's the thing. So many people were helpful with this, including a lot of the Horde of Keepers who were actively looking for a place for me. Garrett at Reach Out Reptiles gave me tons of great advice. Dave Kaufman was helpful. There were a bunch of people, and then a bunch of friends of mine outside of the community that were like, we're gonna help you find a place. It was so nice. What ended up happening is a friend of mine who brings his kid over to right next door to the green room for piano lessons, and his kid would come over, and he would come over to look at snakes. A place opened up across the street from where he lives, and it's a building that allows pets, and the owner likes snakes. The owner used to have a boa, and he's like, yeah, I don't mind snakes. So here we are. Got very, very lucky. So I picked it up real fast, and there we go. Allie, thanks for the super chat. Got one of the build-off enclosures. Unfortunately, I wasn't far enough up to get yours or Reach Out Reptiles. Guess you can't win them all. Which one did you get, though, Allie? That's great. I did hear from the person that got mine. She was the second person that won the raffle, I guess, and she chose mine, which was really nice. That made me feel good. Whose did you get, Allie? So the way this move went, I'm doing a whole video about how to move with snakes, so I'm not going to talk about that as much, but I had help. I had Lucy, who is my snake babysitter. She was here to help clean cages, because what I did basically is I emptied all the cages and put all the snakes in snake bags, and then brought the cages over here dirty. And then Lucy was here, and Cara Corvus, who is a member of the Horde of Keepers. She might be in the chat at some point. Cara came over to help clean cages. So I had them cleaning cages and everything and setting up snakes while I was plugging in thermostats and getting those all set up. And it worked really great. I hired movers, and I'm so glad I did, because it took me all day to get just the snakes set up once we got them over here. And the most important thing is to get them back in their cages as quickly as possible and have those cages set up. So if I had to move furniture that day also, it would have been bad news. So I'm really glad that I had movers to do all that. So that's what happened. And now we're in a much larger space. I'm going to talk about this in the video that I'm putting out about it. But as many of you know, the original green room was very small. It was basically a tiny house. And all the cages that I currently have filled it up, you know, along with all of my stuff and everything, you know. But basically, there was no room for any more cages. So this place is not a huge place, but it is way bigger than what I was in. So that's cool. Let me see. Did Allie say? Looks like people are talking to Allie. Did she say what the enclosure was? I don't see it. Oh, wait. Garden State Tortoise. Theirs was amazing. Garden State Tortoise's enclosure was so beautiful. They did a really incredible job. They had that background that was a photo that she took from the ground floor of the forest, but then the way they built out the forest and made levels and everything was just really incredible. So many cool cages were built at the build off, and Garrett did the most ridiculous thing, and it was so fun to watch because you know, like going outside and seeing that he had put up an entire tent, and he brought a contractor, a building contractor with him to help him tear down that enclosure and create something completely different, which was incredible. Such a cool thing. Garrett, this is a great question. Bob, with all that space, you do need more snakes. You know, maybe, Garrett, it's possible. I am considering it. So I don't know if I need more snakes. I still feel like I have a little bit too many ball pythons, but we'll see. I also don't want to rehome any of my ball pythons. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see how that goes. Yeah. Zara, this is a good question. This is a question that everybody's asking. What about Kent's Corner? And I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet. I don't have Kent in every video lately, but he will be in occasional videos, and he does need a corner. And my guess is that the corner will be somewhere in the house where he's comfortable and there's not snakes. It might be my bedroom. There's no snakes in the bedroom right now. So wherever he's comfortable, but I don't think it's going to be outside. Just because I'm in an apartment now, which is also not ideal, but it's fine. The place I'm in is great. I'm totally happy with it. Kent's shower. I'll talk to him about that. We'll see if he's willing to do a Kent's shower, or every time you see him talking about whatever's important to him, he's currently in the shower. It's possible. There's no snakes in the shower. So, all right. We talked about what I was drinking. Let me check off my list here. Oh, hang on. Okay. How's the video quality? Is it good, you guys? Amy, just give me a Okay, Amy says it's good. Thank you. I can see Amy backstage, so. All right. Oh, is Garrett leaving already? Thanks for checking in, Garrett. Good to see you, man. I love that guy. He's great. Such cool people in this community. I mean, there's really cool people just in the reptile community, but in the community of reptile YouTubers, like the people that I've met, the YouTubers that I've met, I've become instant close friends with, I feel like. Really, really cool people in that little community. Where am I at here? Well, Phil just super chatted, so we'll jump on that. Thanks for the super chat, Phil. Bob, is the feeding for under 300 grams every 5 days set in stone, or could it go 7? Phil, it's so nice of you to super chat, but you asked that question on the Patreon questions, which I'm going to get to, but I'll answer it right now, right here. We'll take care of it. But so nice of you to also super chat. So you've got a new snake, and it's a small one. If it takes 2 to 3 days to digest, 2 more days. Yeah. So you don't have to feed every 5 days. When I have snakes hatch, I feed them every 5 days for a little while just to get them used to eating, but they don't need to eat every 5 days. Every 7 is just fine for them. By the time you get your snake, the breeder hopefully has established it as an eater and it knows how to eat. Every 7 days is fine. The only time I feed every 5 days is just to get that snake used to eating over and over. And I only do it maybe for their first 4 or 5 meals, and then we go weekly. Joe, thanks for the super chat. When do you give up looking for a lost snake? When do you find a snake for the empty enclosure? How to stop feeling guilty about them getting out? Okay, great question. So here's what I think happens, because I hear this a lot. I believe that you will find your new snake shortly after. I mean, when you find your lost snake shortly after you buy your new snake and fill that enclosure, because that happens a lot. You know, the thing is, snakes can live out for a very long time. You know, depending on where you're at. If you're in a cabin deep in Alaska, they're probably not going to do very well. But depending on where you're at, they can live out and about for several years. I heard a story about a pet shop in the mall where a Burmese python got out, and it was missing for a couple years, and they shut down the pet store and they went to pull out all the carpeting, and the Burmese python was under the carpet, quite a bit bigger than it was when they last saw it 2 years before. So it definitely was finding food to eat. I'm sure they had rodents there that, you know, it could find whatever. But that happens in homes too. You know, they find mice to eat. Also, if they don't find anything to eat, they're fine for about a year or so, you know, as long as they can get water and such like that. So, you know what? Guilt is, you know, you're saying, how do you stop feeling guilty about them getting out? Guilt is not a helpful emotion, I don't think. So I don't have any techniques, because I'm not a therapist. I don't have any techniques for not feeling guilty about it. But whenever I'm feeling guilty about anything, I try to remind myself that it's not a healthy emotion, but also that doesn't help. So I don't know. Can't help you out with that one. I'm sorry. But I hope your snake shows up. I hope you find him. Months, though. You can go months and months, a year, depending on what kind of snake it is, whatever. But go ahead and get a new snake if you want to get a new snake. And if you find the other one, you'll have 2. No big deal. Elizabeth, thanks for the super chat. My daughter Catherine would love to hear 2 fun facts about Echo. She also loved watching the build off, especially Kent. Oh, that's so nice. That's great. Okay, Catherine, 2 fun facts about Echo. Well, one fun fact about Echo, who is located in this, let me move over, this enclosure right here. This is where she lives. She's currently in there, but she spent the day right up there in one of those hides. And I did not expect her to, because I'm not free roaming my snakes yet. The room isn't really set up for that. But she wanted to come out, and she kind of went directly in that hide, which is where she used to go in the old green room. You know, these cages weren't right next to one another, but she would sit on top of this cage and sit in those hides in the old green room. And as soon as she recognized one of those hides, she crawled in, and she was in there for probably 6 hours. Another fun fact about Echo is that she's a very food motivated snake, and she has bit me more than any other snake in the green room. However, it's been a very long time since she's bit me. She's being pretty good about not striking first and asking questions later. So that's a fun fact about Echo. Maybe we'll bring her out in a little bit. Okay, scrolling down. Thanks for those super chats, you guys. So I was, excuse me. I was today getting ready for the live stream and setting up the house and everything, and I had one tab open from Happy Basin's YouTube page, because Amy Benzie has a very pregnant emerald tree boa basin, Amazon basin tree boa, who is ready to drop babies any minute now. So she oftentimes puts the camera up and live streams that. So there was a few of us, Tara Patton and Amy Bentley were in there, and we were chatting with Amy Benzie and watching that snake, hoping that we see little boa snakelets drop out of her. It's crazy. They just drop out, you know, because they give live birth. So these snakes just drop out onto the ground and slither around. We're waiting for it. It's very exciting. It's Amy Benzie's first breeding of these snakes. I think of any snake, but it's, you know, she's got a group of these Amazon basins, and we're all very excited. So that's fun. Azari, yeah, I would love a tree boa. I would love an Amazon basin, but they are a little pricey for my current budget. I don't know if $7,000 to $12,000 is in my price range for a basin. I don't know what I have no idea what Amy's doing with her basins. If she's going to sell them, I don't know what she would price them at, but that's generally what they go for, $7,000 to $12,000. So, all right, where are we at? So, I have some upcoming appearances, meet and greet, places where you can go and hang out with me. The first one, I got to consult my phone for specific dates, but Clint Laidlaw, one of my favorite people in the world, Clint Laidlaw is having his, I wish my eyes weren't deteriorating rapidly. I feel like I'm going to be blind by next year. Where is this? So the end of September, Clint is having a 5-year anniversary / reptile rampage at Clint's Reptile Room, just south of Salt Lake City, Utah. So I'll be up there for that. There will be a bunch of creators up there for that. We're doing a meet and greet one day on it's, I think I don't want to say this for sure because, so it's the whole event is the 27th through the 29th of September. I believe the 27th is a meet and greet at Clint's Reptile Room. It also could be the 28th because I'm not sure. If somebody knows for sure, put it in the chat. Or Amy, if you know, I'll bring you on and you can say, but you're eating something, so I'm going to wait. And then the next day, so whatever day that is, that's happening. But then the next day, there's the reptile rampage that's at a completely different location where I assume we're all going to be shooting each other with Nerf guns or some sort of something fun like that you can go to. Okay, I'm bringing Amy in. Hi.
Hi, guys.
Do you have dates?
Okay, Clint's. Yeah, the meet and greet is going to be on September 27th. There are
At
2 time
Clint's Reptile
slots
Room.
at Clint's Reptile Room. And then the Reptile Rampage is on Saturday, the 28th at the middle school that's like right down the street.
Right, they'll find it. But the thing is, you've got to buy tickets to those things. If you want to go to either one of those, you got to get tickets. Thanks, Amy, for the info. I'm going to pull you out. So if you're interested and you can get there, go to, I think it's clintsreptiles.com. Go to Clint's website and you can get tickets there for that. And Redbeard Blake, thanks for the super chat. I appreciate that. Congratulations on the new place. Thank you so much. That's so nice for you to super chat that. I appreciate it. Very, very happy with the way the new place worked out. Really, could not have gone better. So that is that weekend. The following weekend, I'm gonna come back here just for a couple days after that, and then I'm going to Orlando for Animal Con. So if anybody is on that side of the country and wants to come to Animal Con, I will be there hanging out. I don't even know, they haven't even contacted me about panels or anything, so I don't know what my schedule is going to be. But my guess is that I'm going to do scheduled meet and greets, and then I'm just going to be cruising around. I'm going to go to panels. Like if I'm on a panel, I'll do it. But otherwise, I'm just going to go to panels and enjoy stuff and hang out. So there's going to be a lot of hangout time, I think, at Animal Con. And that is October 4th through the 6th. It's a 3-day event. Lanny, thanks for the super chat. Hi, Bob. Stumbled across your vids 2 months ago. Oh, welcome to the channel. That's nice. Stumbled across your vids 2 months ago. Just got 2 babies last month, and they're thriving thanks to you. You're so freaking funny, too. Always enjoyable. I watch you all day and night. Oh, that's so nice. That's really nice. I appreciate that. It's very awkward always for me to read a compliment like that. But I'm reading it as I go, and I don't know what people are going to say. That's really sweet, Lanny. I'm glad that you're enjoying the channel, and I'm glad that it's been helpful to you. Congrats on those 2 snakes. That's fantastic that they're thriving. Okay. So that's that. Those are 2 places that that we can meet. And then I'm trying to figure out another Patreon meetup. We're going to do more of those, and we're going to do another one in Joshua Tree. So if you're on Patreon, we did a really fun event. We spent a weekend in Joshua Tree herping, and that was really fun. And we kind of threw it together last minute. And I'm going to plan another one. We're going to do this probably the same Airbnb that we stayed at, because that was amazing. So we're going to do that again. That'll be fun. Spencer Lambus with the Royals Project. Hi, Spencer. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate that. Spencer is in North Idaho, and I was up there before I came back and found this place. I was in North Idaho because it's where my parents live. And Spencer lives 1 mile away from my parents, just coincidentally. And so I went to his place, and we chatted about this crazy issue of trying to find a place, and looked at a bunch of his snakes, looked at some snakes that I hatched. It was really fun. I had a good time. Good to see you, Spencer. All right. So anyway, those are some meetup opportunities. What else did I want to say before we get to the Q&A portion of this? So I wasn't going to mention this, but I am going to mention it. I'm just not going to show the snake. But I think that you guys who are on the live stream should know that Molly Malone. I'll show you. Molly Malone and Captain Farrell. I've been trying to get them to have babies for a long time. I've been trying for some ultramelpides from these two snakes. Here's Molly right here. She's just easy to grab. And Molly laid a clutch of eggs a couple months ago, but they were all slugs except one. There was one egg that looked viable. And last year she laid all slugs. So I thought, man, this one viable egg may not hatch. If it does, the snake might not be healthy. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with her. The egg hatched. We moved the egg. So we had this egg in the incubator during the move. And what we did is I told the movers, I said, look, this incubator and my freezer that holds the rodents, I have a dedicated freezer that holds snake food. I said the freezer and the incubator have to be the last thing on the truck and the first thing off so we can get them plugged in. So my frozen stuff doesn't freeze, and so that this egg can get back in the incubator. And then I made Lucy in charge of the egg, the little egg box, and she, Cara Corvus, drove her to the new place, and we got the egg set back up. And 3 days later, that egg hatched, and it's a healthy snake. I'm not going to tell you what the morph is because I'm doing a video on that. Patreon knows, though. I showed Patreon the snake. So if you're on the paid side of Patreon, there's a lot of people on the free side of Patreon, by the way, which you can do. You can join Patreon for free, and you get weekly updates from the green room. I do like a little 1 minute update for everyone on Patreon. But then for the people that pay for any of the tiers, they get to see stuff like new snakes, and they get other perks and stuff like that. So anyway, those people have seen that little snake about an hour after it crawled out of the egg. And it's very exciting that we at least got one from Molly Malone. One single egg. And it's kind of sad because, you know, usually they all sit in a pile until they shed. They're used to piling up together. And this little baby doesn't have any siblings to sit with. So I set the snake up with 2 hides and a water dish and a little rock, which I don't usually. It's usually just a water dish, and then they sit in their pile in the back of the tub. But she's all set up because she, you know, I figure she needs as much security as possible because she doesn't have those other snakes to tangle in with until she sheds. So that's that. Okay. What else do I want to say before we, I think we did it. I think we made all the announcements. Tell you what, let me put Handsome Dan back in his cage, and maybe we'll grab another snake. This guy is a grabber, man. He grabs onto anything he can grab onto. Here we go. Look at this. So convenient. Right? Isn't this a better situation than the Green Room 1.0? You can see what I'm doing when I grab these snakes, at least. And also the mic is on me now, so you can hear me as I walk away. So we've got some improvements. Hang on. Okay. So Amy, whenever Amy sets up my questions here, she always puts a list of snakes that she would like to see, and I try to get a few of those out. So her list, she's got an extensive list here, starting with Damara, which I think we can. Oh, that's not Damara. Hey, Mama. Look at you. Here's this big girl. Oh, she is a big girl too. She is heavy. We'll just set her right here and hope she doesn't mess with my mic too much. All right. Q&A questions. Here we go. We're going to start with Renee Ayers. Renee says, Bob, do you have a P.O. box? We can send you things. Yes, I do have a P.O. box. You can send me things. The P.O. box, I'm going to tell you what it is, but it's listed at the very bottom of every video's description. So, which there's a lot of stuff in that description. There's a big list of stuff, so people don't usually go to the bottom, but that's where the address is if you ever need it. But it is 3727 West Magnolia Boulevard, box 250, Burbank, California, 91505. And by the way, that's another, did I say that right? Yeah. That's another really great thing about finding a place that was so close, because I would have had to move the green room's P.O. box if I moved out of town, or at least somewhere far away. But I'm still just right down the street from the green room's P.O. box, and it's still convenient, which is great. Renee also asks, did Kent find a new corner or nook, maybe a recliner or beanbag chair? Oh, that's a good idea too. We already talked about Kent's, we need to find a corner for Kent. Kent's beanbag chair. I bet he would like a beanbag chair, you know? So we'll see. Chris asks, when are you planning on breeding Lydia Dietz? I'm looking for a clown-pied male and would love to get one from you. You know, I was breeding Lydia Dietz this season, but she didn't go for me. I assume she'll go probably next year. I did produce a couple clown pieds from her last season, and they're lovely. I kept a male. Kodiak is a male clown pied from her, and we'll do that pairing again. People like the clown pieds, and I'm excited to get more from her. So I'll let you know. It'll happen, and who knows? Maybe she's gravid from that pairing, but I just would have expected her to lay already if she was. But I think she may have reabsorbed this year. Hey, Mama. Hi. Can I have you just up here like this? How about that? Tara Patton says, congratulations on the new green room. Thanks. Does this mean you're going to get more snakes? You know, Tara, possibly. I'm always on the lookout for snakes. And the problem with the old green room is there just wasn't room for more cages, you know, especially cages of any sizable size. I do have a friend that just hatched out a large species of python that is one that I've always wanted. And so that's a possibility, maybe. I don't know what he's going to do with that particular clutch of pythons. See how I'm not even telling you what it is? But I'm keeping an eye on that clutch. You know, we'll see. Mystic Pets, thanks for the super chat. What would cause a ball python to regurg after 4 days? That's a great question. Regurgitation is caused by a number of things. The prey item could have been bad, and it's causing them a bellyache, and so they need to get rid of it. But it could also be that they don't have enough heat in their enclosure to properly digest, and so it's going to rot in their belly. And if they didn't regurgitate it, it would kill them. So when a snake regurgitates, it's a good thing, because if they didn't, it could, you know, the thing in their belly could kill them. So check your temps and see if you know, make sure that you've got a good, you know, 88 to 90 degree hot spot that and they're warm enough to digest. And then you know, check your prey item and make sure it's your prey items that you bought. You may have just bought one and fed it, and then you never know. But could be that the snake just has some sort of stomach issue anyway, but it's usually the prey item or the heat, you know. So that's a bummer. I'm sorry that happened. The best thing to do if your snake regurgitates is wait at least 2 weeks, because snake's stomach acid is much stronger than ours. And you know how it feels when you throw up or you get bile in your throat? It's awful, right? Imagine if that's way stronger. It's just acid that kind of burns sores in their throat, you know, because that their bile, their acid, stomach acids, is strong enough to digest bone, you know. So it causes sores in their throat. You need to give them at least 2 weeks for those sores to heal. Otherwise, next time they try to eat, they're just going to reopen those sores. So you got to give them a little time. 3 weeks is fine also to give them, just to be safe, you know. I've got Damara here. You guys, oh, you can see Damara sort of. Hey, Mama, you doing okay out here, or would you like to go back? I'm gonna give her the option of going back because she's just kind of. Let's just see what she does. You okay out? Okay, all right. All right. Brady, I'm excited that you and Amy will be at the Reptile Rampage. You guys, this is Amy Bentley's husband, Brady, sitting in some other room from Amy, upstairs, I would imagine. Or no, probably downstairs. Yeah. Where is he, Amy? Is he downstairs?
Brady's upstairs. I'm downstairs. Brady's upstairs.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
speaking of Brady, since you're watching this, we'll bring me more cucumbers. Please.
Wait, you're asking him for, hold on. That is a terrible ask. You're asking him for more cucumbers?
Yeah.
Eat something.
They really complete my whole dinner.
Eat pizza rolls or some sort of delicious cucumber.
Non-bites. Okay. Non-bites with roasted red pepper hummus and a pepperoni and a cucumber.
Oh, okay. All right. I get it.
They're super delish.
I don't mind that.
This is my last cucumber.
I thought you were just eating cucumbers, and I was really disappointed with that choice of, you know.
I mean, I do that often.
That's terrible. Bye, Amy. Okay. All right. Don't worry, you guys. Amy's going to be fine. Brady says cucumbers on the way. Perfect. Okay. Scabby Knack, yeah, pizza rolls. It's the only thing I could think of. What I was thinking when I said pizza rolls is that old Saturday Night Live series of commercials that, what's her name did those? For Totino's pizza rolls. God, those were so funny. It was, I can't remember what her name is. Anyway, look up the Totino's pizza rolls commercials. Watch all of them. They're great. I'm going to think of the name and I'm just going to shout it out sometime during the live stream. Vanessa Bayer. Thanks, Gabby. Gabby says Vanessa something. Yes, Vanessa Bayer, who I just love. She's so funny. All right. Where are we at on these questions? Okay, here we go. I need my glasses again. But at least I know my place, where we're at here. Skidia says, I'd like to ask what kind of things you're planning to or have already done to snake-proof the green room. There's a lot to be done still, but what I've done so far, I'm not comfortable with the snakes free roaming at this point. It's gonna be a while. What I've done so far is before I even moved in, I came over like the day before I brought anything, and I got down on the ground and looked under all the cabinets in the bathroom, all the cabinets in the kitchen, anywhere that if a snake accidentally got in there, could they get somewhere? Is there any holes anywhere? And the only thing that I found is the thermostat, what do you call it? The heater? Can't think of words. Where the heater is, there's a hole about like this where you would either look to light the pilot, to check the pilot light, or you can, I guess, reach in and light the pilot light for it. So that little hole I just covered up, and that's the only hole. That's really the only thing that I've done so far. But the problem with the green room, the way it's set up, is it used to be that the snakes, like Damara, who would free roam, she had her spot. She would always go to the same spot, and it was on the other side of the room as the racks, and it was under the couch, behind the mirror, stuff like that, behind furniture that's easy to move. Now I've got these cages behind me, and I don't want them going behind those cages because I don't want to have to move that stack of cages to get a sleeping snake. Tomorrow will stay there for 2 days, you know? So I've got to figure something out. I'm thinking about getting like foam or something that I can shove into the sides, you know, between the wall. I'm seeing myself backwards. Between the wall and the cage right there, and between these two cages right here, and then underneath them, just so that snakes, you know, they could probably push the foam and get through there, but they're not going to. They'll just see that it's a barrier and they won't go any further, hopefully, because I don't want them behind those things. So that's going to be part of snake proofing the room. But the room itself is pretty good. You know, they're not, if a snake went missing, I wouldn't be worried that it's in the walls somewhere, at least, you know. So that's good. Okay. Cara Corvus, who was right here setting up these snakes just days ago, says, would you ever lend out your males for other breeders and split the clutch? Similarly, if another breeder had a great male for one of your females, would you bring them in? I mean, it depends. Not generally, you know, like I would pretty much say no to that to most people. However, I was just talking to Garrett Hartle about potentially doing a breeder loan for Echo when she's ready to breed, where he sends me a male. He and I are good friends, and I think we would be willing to do that if he had a male that he was willing to part with for a season, you know. And I trust that his collection is safe. That male would still go into quarantine for a little bit, but I know his collection. I know that you know, those animals are safe. So I guess my answer is yes, under the right circumstances. All right. Leah says, will we get a tour of the new green room and see where everyone is now? Yeah, this is basically it. I got snakes back there, and then I have racks, and this camera setup is on top of a rack. And then I just kind of have some racks in the corner here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, one tall one. So 3. So basically four racks, including a baby rack. Here's a question that I just saw. Creature feature. I don't have any other animals. I have what I used to say was my dog, but it's a dog that I shared custody with Yoli, my neighbor, who was my old landlord. Yoli's one of my closest friends, and McKenna, her dog, would spend a lot of time at my place. So I'll see McKenna a lot because I'll be over there still hanging out with them a lot. But she's just not going to be outside my door every morning waiting to come in. Kismet Jax, thanks for the super chat. Pool noodle will fill the gaps pretty nice. Oh, that's a great idea. Thanks for that. I wonder if they have black pool noodles. I want black. I bet they do. That's a great idea. Thanks for the super chat, and thanks for that fantastic idea. That'll do it, I think. That'll be the thing. All right. I'm just checking my text. That's Yoli texting me right now asking how I'm holding up. Hang on. I'm going to text her back and tell her to jump on the live stream. Hang on. I'm doing well, thanks, comma. I'm in the middle of a live stream, period. You guys should jump on and watch it. I was just talking about you. Oh, God. It didn't record. I'll text her later. That's so stupid. Oh my gosh. Someone over in Asia just super chatted. Okay, this is the first time that a name is in a different language. I want to say Korean, but if I'm wrong, I'm going to look like such a jerk. But it's in a different language, so I can't even begin to pronounce the name. And also, what's W30,000? I don't know what that is either. But thanks for that super chat. I appreciate it. Hi, Bob. Whiskey question. I don't know much about whiskey, but I like peaty flavors. Okay, I think I can help you out here. Can you recommend a peaty whiskey that is from a common brand? I rarely find the whiskeys you recommend, such as Ardbeg, in my country. Yeah, so Ardbeg would not be an easy one to find. It kind of depends on what's there, but my guess is Lafroig is more worldwide than Ardbeg is, I think. So Lafroig, look for that one. And then, gosh, I think Lafroig is your best bet. If you can find Lafroig, that's your PD whiskey. And then if you go into a liquor store that has Scotch, ask them for an Islay Scotch, spelled Islay, and most of the peated Scotches are from Islay. So that's what you're looking for. But not all Islay Scotches are peated, but many of them are. So you'll probably find something. Another one that's not Islay but is peated is called Talisker, and Talisker might be in your area. Oh, you guys, I was right. God, it feels so good. It is Korean. I was right. Okay. Amy, I see you. Hi, Amy.
Oh,
That's
hi.
what she does, you guys. What you just saw, that's what she does the whole time until I notice her.
Hey, so I'm texting Yoli because she's my best friend, and she says she can't log in to hang out with us on the live stream because she's teaching right now, but she thinks that you're all wonderful and she misses you. And she also said that I'm beautiful. So
she's very sweet. Nice. Well, she's right.
there's a picture of her teaching.
Oh, that's her teaching her student right now. That's great. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks for that message. I appreciate it.
Yep.
All right. So, I have such a great relationship with Yoli and Lewis, her partner. We used to have dinners together all the time, or at least drinks outside at the end of the day, whatever. We'd catch up, and she would always say goodnight, and I'd go in my door and she'd go in hers and whatever. And so the first night that I was here, she called me to say goodnight, which was very sweet. And she's texted me to check on me several times to make sure I'm okay in the new place, which is lovely. It's nice to have really good friends who genuinely care, I like people like that. All right. I'm going to give Damara an opportunity to go back in her enclosure if she wants to. Does not look like she wants to. It's they're very slow right now because they know that they're in a new space. So when they come out to explore, I've had Lydia Dietz has come out several times so far to explore around, and I just kind of follow her around the room, and they're just slow and deliberate. Everything that's in front of their face, they want to tongue flick on for a long time before they move on to the next thing. So they're all very aware that they're in a new place. And, Damara, normally I would pull her out and she would immediately just crawl off of me and go to where she wants to go because she knows that I let her do that. But now she's been wrapped pretty tightly around my arm. I mean, she's not squeezing it, but she's got a good grip on my arm because I'm comfortable to her. She knows me, and she knows that she's in a different space. So she's just going to check it out while she's anchored to me. That makes her feel safe. So that's cool. Hang on. I just saw a super chat. Kevin, thanks for the super chat. Been a challenging day at the vet, hoping for answers. Got confusion, but they were very happy with the husbandry, which is thanks to GRP family. We wouldn't have taken on our first snake without you. Okay, so congrats on your first snake. I'm sorry that you're having a challenge at the vet. That happens a lot, though, when you rescue a snake. You know, that's part of it, as I'm sure you know. I hope the snake's okay. I hope the vet can get the snake on a good course, whatever's going on with it. Thanks for that super chat. Appreciate it. Okay, let's get back to the Patreon Q&A. All right, so I last answered Leah's question about are we going to see the green room. She has another question. In a ton of groups on Facebook, I've seen people lose their ball python, and sometimes they reappear, which we talked about earlier. In those situations, what should a keeper look for to decide if they need a vet checkup, or should you do a vet check just to be safe? You know, I did a video on how to do a checkup yourself on a snake, and I would go through all those steps, you know, check your snake. Oftentimes the snake is just fine. They're not necessarily going to come back with a respiratory infection and tons of crazy stuff. The one thing that is fairly common to see on a snake that's been out for a long time is you might see a cut on them. You might see some sort of laceration or something like that, because maybe they tried to crawl under the refrigerator and they couldn't quite fit, and there was a piece of metal that just cut them as they went. So that happens sometimes. And for something like that, you know, a vet would be a good option if you don't already have like silver salvazidine cream, betadine, is that the word? Stuff like that, and know how to treat a wound like that. A vet is always a good thing to have. But just do that, you know, you'll see that right away. If they have a cut, there's nothing, you know, there's nothing to do. You'll look at your snake and you'll see that. But then check out that video that I did on doing a checkup for a snake. So you do that checkup, and as long as you don't detect anything, they're probably going to be okay just going back in their cage. You know, give them a week to adjust to their back into their cage. You know, if they've been gone a day or two, it's not that big of a deal. But if they've been gone for a period of time, let's say more than a week, I might give them a week to adjust to their new cage before I fed them. And then, you know, let's say they're gone a long time and they look thin, maybe try to feed them. So it's depends on the situation, I guess. Phil, thanks for the super chat. If you happen to feed your ball python on the cool side, will they move to the warm side to digest, or should you try to feed them on the warm side? Feed them wherever they happen to be, and they will move where they want to move to. And oftentimes they don't move to the warm side right away. That's nothing to be worried about. The snakes know where warmth is, and they know where coolness is, and they go where they're comfortable. So don't even worry about that. They'll find their space. As long as you've provided them with a warm side and a cool side, they know how to get there. They're pretty smart that way. Okay. Jacqueline says, I would love to know how long it takes the average ball python to reach full size. Well, let's say your ball python lives 35 years. You take good care of it, it lives 35 years. It will reach its full size potential on year 35. And I say that because technically snakes grow their entire life. However, to give you an actual answer to that question, which I think you mean like when are they adult sized? Between 3 and 5 years, and it depends on their feeding. You know, you can expect them to be adult size. Once they hit that adult size mark, which is 3 to 5 years, they're going to grow very slowly each year. And, you know, it also depends on how much you feed them. My adult female ball pythons don't get anything larger than a medium rat. My adult males don't get anything larger than a small rat. And so if you're feeding them appropriately, they're going to still grow at a slow pace over the years, but not much. So like Damara she's like a 7 or 8 year old snake, I think. She's very big for a ball python. Most ball pythons will not get that size. And she is not going to grow much over the years. She's going to grow very slowly over the years, but she still gets a medium rat, you know? And this is a thing, I'm seeing a couple of super chats that I'll get to in a second. But this is something that's really important because people hear this rule about feed your snakes 10 to 15% of their body weight or a prey item that's equal to the thickness of their body. That is a rule for young snakes, not for adults. So if I was feeding Damara a prey item, the thickness of her body, I'd be feeding her stray cats, right? So she still gets a medium rat every 2 weeks. And if I'm breeding her, then I feed her a medium rat every 1 week. And I might give her a little bit extra even during breeding season to boost it up. But just a medium rat is all you need. What was the original question? I feel like I went off. Oh, how long does it take them to reach full size? Yeah, okay. So we answered that. 3 to 5 years, but then they'll grow very slowly after that. Tara, thanks for the $10 super sticker. I still don't understand what those super stickers are, but I appreciate that. It's really nice. Hogstrictors, David, thanks for the super chat, man. That's really nice. Congrats on the new green room, Bob. Looks so great and a bit bigger. Loving the new setup with the wall of enclosures. Thanks, David. I appreciate that. David offered to help with the move, and I told him I didn't need help. And then like the day before or 2 days before, I was like, hey, David, if you still want to help, you can come help. And he was like, oh, man, I took a job already because you told me no. But as it turns out, I was trying to get a hand or two to help the movers so that they went faster. But it turns out these guys were so fast, and I don't think they wanted any help. I think they were like, don't worry about it. We got it. They just like grabbed furniture, wrapped it up. They were so fast. So anyway, David at Hogstrictors, I appreciate your willingness to help. And I appreciate that super chat. That was really nice. Okay. Here we go. We're on page 2 of this Q&A, you guys. Oh, should we get another snake out? Do you guys want to see Pip? I think there's a lot of people that want to see. Pip has more than tripled in size since I got her. She's getting big. But she still does fit in little tiny hides like this. Amy sent me a box of hides, and this is one of her hides. She's not in it right now. Hi, little one. But it used to be that I couldn't pick her up with my hands. She was so tiny that I couldn't get her with my fingers, so I would use a hook, a little tiny hook to get her out. There's that little girl. Look at how cute she is, right? I mean, still super tiny. Very smart young lady. She is target trained, and she is the best out of all my snakes that are target trained. She does the best job of it. She goes right up to the target, touches it with her nose, does not strike at it, and she gets her food. She knows exactly what to do in order to get her food as quickly as possible. Come on, camera, focus. Anyway, I love this little snake. But yeah, David, right? She is much bigger. You know, she was 9 grams. Now she's, I don't remember what she weighed last time, but it was more than 3 times that. Or is that right? Feels like that's not right. Where's my scale? I don't know what I did with my scale. I'd weigh her right now, but I moved my scale for the live stream setup, and I don't know where I put it. Not a snake that I can just have around my neck, though. Once she's full grown, I might be able to put her on my hat, maybe. She'll be, I don't know, maybe not. She probably won't ever get 2 feet long. Probably. Elizabeth, thanks for the super chat. I love the new green room. I have to go. I'll catch the rest later. Don't forget to hit the like button, everyone. Oh my gosh, Elizabeth, that's so nice. Thanks for joining us for the time that you could. I appreciate that super chat. And the reminder to hit the like button. And also, if you're not subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe if you're watching this and you look down and you're like, oh yeah, I'm not subscribed. Because the weird thing is that if you watch my videos, YouTube will suggest that you watch more of my videos, whether you're subscribed or not. So a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I watch every week. I'm definitely subscribed. But it's just that they pop up on your feed because you'll click on them and YouTube knows that. So check and see if you're subscribed while you're hitting that like button. Okay. We got Pip doing her little thing. All right. Denise says, hang on. Denise says, can my 3-foot long ball python be okay in a 4-foot tank that's only 14 inches tall? I think he is telling me that he needs more vertical space. He's really adventurous, so he free roams a little to compensate. Yeah, yes, that's fine. Bigger is always better, you know, but we do what we can. So if that's the cage that you have right now, that's 14 inches, that's fine. Hang on, I'm trying to fix her little cage. They are typically on the ground, but if you can give them some stuff to climb on, a little bit of height, they're going to use it, you know, for sure. They'll climb up stuff. So, you know, for a ball python, you don't want to have an arboreal setup necessarily. But, you know, especially, I mean, you want to favor ground, you know, floor space over height. But the point with the arboreal thing, you don't want to have too tall of a setup because they're pretty clumsy and they can fall and hurt themselves. So, you know. But anyway, yes, that cage is fine. Tara, thanks for the super chat. What did you feed Pip when you first got her? I was feeding her, and I'm still feeding her basically this. I was giving her small 1-day-old pinky mice. Lane Labs sells small ones, specifically small ones, and they also sell regular ones and large ones. So now she's on larges, but I also feed her Reptilinks. Reptilinks makes a micro link, which is 1 gram, and they're made out of iguana. You can have them made out of whatever you want, but I ordered them made out of iguana because she would eat reptiles in the wild. She'd be a lizard eater at this size, you know. So now she eats 2 of those. If I'm giving her Reptilinks, I give her 2 of those 1 gram micro links. So that's what she's getting. She's doing well on them. All right. Stacy asks, I put together a jungle gym made out of a plant stand for my snakes, and I have a puppy playpen for the smaller ones. What else can I do to interact and have fun with my snakes? Sounds like you're doing well with that. I think any sort of cruising around station that you can do for them, or any room that you can snake proof to have them cruise around in. And then other than that, just, you know, if there's a spot that you can bring them outside that's safe, that's a good thing to do. And then just hanging out with you is cool. You know, I usually in the morning, when I wake up in the morning and I start making coffee and doing my morning things, I usually have a snake around my neck. And it's kind of whatever snake I check on all the snakes first. It's the first thing I do in the morning. and whatever snake looks like they want to come out. Right now, it's Lydia Dietz usually. So I'll bring her out and just put her around my neck. And everywhere I go, she checks stuff out. So as I'm making coffee, she's tongue flicking on the cupboards in front of me. And I move over here and she's got the wall or another cage to tongue flick on and check things out. So it's good for their brain, you know, to just carry them around a little bit. Tara, I just saw this. It depends on the snake. For this particular snake, I don't have to heat the Reptilinks. I just make sure they're not cold. So I usually do hit them with the hairdryer because I've defrosted them, and I just want to make sure they're not cold anywhere. But she will eat carrion in the wild, so I can just put the Reptilink in there. She eats off tongs too, but I can hide a couple Reptilinks in her cage, and she'll go and find them, and they don't have to be hot for her. Same with the black-headed pythons. The stuff doesn't have to be hot for them to go up and happily eat them. It's a good question. Reptilinks are not appropriate for ball pythons. For those of you who are wondering, even though they're very healthy, if you can get a ball python to eat one that's you know made out of maybe rabbit and quail and all that kind of stuff, that might be healthy for them, but they probably won't take it. It's just best not to try with ball pythons. It's better for other snakes and lizards. Ghost, thanks for the super chat. Happy you and your snake family found a new home. Love hearing your husbandry tips. Recently broke up with the girlfriend. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. And used a chunk of engagement / wedding band money for a 4x2x2 from Black Box. A little thank you. Okay, that's great. I say I'm sorry about that, but maybe it's a good thing. Maybe I'm not sorry. I mean, it depends on how it is for your life, but that's great. Yeah, the 4x2x2 from Black Box is a great cage. The ones behind me, it's hard to tell in a video the size of things, but those ones behind me are 5 feet long by 2 feet wide. Wait, 5 feet wide by 2 feet front to back. I guess that's long. By 18 inches high. So I'm guessing that there will be a stack of 4x2x2s in here at some point. Or 5x2x2s or 6x2x2, something like that in here probably in the future. Math Pig, I love your handle, and thanks for the super chat. Going to Northern Ireland, only reptile show on the 28th. I want to go to Northern Ireland. I want to come visit you, Math Pig. If I come back with a female pied, I'm blaming you. Then my daughter next. Not my fault. That's great. Get it. Get you a female pied or a male pied. They're both would be great. Amy, I'm bringing you on. Do you still have Colin Robinson?
No, he pooped on me.
He did. Will you tell that story while I go and get my bottle of monkey shoulder?
Sure. I mean, I was sitting here. Somebody had even just asked about him in the chat room, like, hey, what does Amy have around her shoulders? And I was like, oh, he's my little, yellow belly or asphalt, but I'll have to get him shed tested to find out for sure. And then he just pooped on me. So I don't have him anymore. I put him away. And now I'm here. Although, here's what I will say. My cute husband, for all of you who's watching, he's upstairs watching this. And I'm downstairs in my little craft room. And I was on my way up the stairs. I had just, got a paper towel and wiped it off and threw it in the trash can. And then I pulled my hoodie off and I was on my way up the stairs. And he was, coming down the stairs with a roll of paper towels and a bag to put the poop in and everything because he's the freaking best. You're the best, Brady.
That's nice. I'm sorry you got pooped on.
It's okay. I was gonna bring my little false water cobra down here, but she's really hungry, and I don't want her to bite me. So
Amy's got the cutest little false water cobra, you guys.
She is really cute, you guys.
Have I? Is that? I don't think I've revealed that on the channel yet. there's a video that I'm working on that's going to reveal your purchase of that false water cobra. But the folks on the live stream can hear about it too. I went into the kitchen to grab that bottle and I couldn't find it. I was like, what did I do with that thing? And then I remembered that I put it in the freezer because it's so hot in here and it was sitting way up on a top shelf. So my first pour of whiskey was hot whiskey. It was very warm and I don't like it warm. It's so much nicer when it's been chilled a bit in the freezer.
Look at what my husband just posted on the internet.
What?
He just admitted on the internet that my false water cobra is really cute. She's the cutest. He said it.
I'm scared of her.
Live
but
on the internet, you guys.
Yeah. That's the thing, you guys. Brady, you're right. That's true. False water cobras are one of my favorite snakes. There might be one in the future in the green room. I don't know. But Amy got a really good one. Super cute false water cobra. And the fact
I'll try to make sure I feed her so that I can bring her on to the next live. When I pulled her out yesterday, because I was going to try to get her into the vet. She's having a little problem with stuck shed at the bottom of her tail. None of the vets in like a 300-mile radius of me will see her because they're afraid of the word cobra. So
crazy.
Yeah, that was really frustrating, but I think we'll get her situated just fine. I think she'll be all right. But I was wanting to get her in to see a vet, and so I didn't feed her when I was going to a couple days ago. So she's getting fed tonight after this live stream.
Cool. I'm sure she will be very happy to eat some food. All right.
Next time, guys.
All right. Bye, Amy.
Bye.
So that's the thing with exotic vets, you guys, that you got to remember. Sometimes, many exotic vets are exotic vets because they like working with hamsters and birds, and they're not necessarily reptile people. And even if they are, even if they'll see snakes, they might not know a lot about snake species. Certainly don't know about every species of snake. Snakes' bodies are basically very similar, and they have access to the information, so they can treat snakes. But a lot of times they're like, yeah, I don't like snakes. I don't see snakes. And that's okay. They can be an exotic vet for everything but snakes if they want, They can refuse service. All right. Let's see where we're at here. Okay. Mysteria says, when you deep clean your PVC enclosures, do you wash them out with soapy water before using disinfectant, or is soapy water unnecessary if you disinfect? Yes, you absolutely have to wash it first. Disinfectant is for a clean surface to disinfect. It would be like, I like to exaggerate the scenario. Let's say your snake pooped in its enclosure and you just sprayed disinfectant on it. You still have poop there, so it doesn't just automatically make the poop safe. So I clean my cages with Dawn dish soap. So that's what I clean them off with, and I get as much soap out as I can. Dawn dish soap is safe for animals, but I get as much out as I can. And then I use either chlorhexidine or F10 or bleach solution to disinfect once the cage is clean. It's a good question. Because I think a lot of people just spray disinfectant and wipe it around, and that's not the thing to do. I will say though that when I spot clean with a dry wipe that's got chlorhexidine on it, and that's what I use to pick up the urate or the poop or whatever it is, and because I want that on my hand, rather than just a paper towel to pick it up with. And then I rub that around, and I think that's better than anything. I'm not going to clean the surface with Dawn dish soap when I'm just spot cleaning, but I do rub it around, and I think that helps a little bit. So Clint at Black Box Cages is here. I'm late, but I'm here. Glad you're here, Clint. you didn't miss much, but you've got an hour and 19 minutes of stuff to watch tomorrow if you want. Anyway, this is the new green room, and look at your beautiful cages that are now displayed right here. So it's really nice that I can get those 5-foot cages in the shot now. Now that I'm in a bigger green room. And Clint, I want to talk to you about caging for little Pip here, because she is going to be ready to be out of her tub at this point. She was, when I first got her, that tub was palatial, and it's still pretty big for her, but she's growing fast. So we want to get her in something that says black box cages, I think, at some point. Yeah, Amy's saying, look at Maya. Wait, wrong direction. Yeah, what is she up to? Oh my gosh. Just crazy. She's all over the place. She's looking for food, I think. She's definitely ready to eat. I have, since the move, I've not fed anybody for a little while. And Maya's used to eating every 4 days. Black-headed pythons eat more often. I mean, they can eat more often. A lot of people feed them the same as they feed out any other pythons, but I like my black-headed pythons to eat smaller meals more often. So she's used to eating every 4 days, and I'm giving her a little break from food right now during the move. And then I think I'm feeding everybody tomorrow. Usually I feed some snakes almost every day of the week, but they're not on the same schedule. But now that I've moved everyone, I've given them I'm giving them, I think, 6 days to just relax and decompress from the move. And then I'm just feeding everyone. That's how it's working. So have I missed a super chat? I don't think so. I guess Amy would be flagging me down if I did. No, I'm good. Okay. Black Box Cages is here, so you can ask Clint whatever caging questions you'd like to ask. And Spencer might still be here. Spencer, are you still here? So if you have any ball python questions about availability, what he's got currently available or coming up, you can ask Spencer those questions if he's still here. He may not be, though. Spencer's got a family with young children. He's got a delightful family. And so he doesn't have a ton of time to spend hours monitoring a live stream. Where are we at on this? I found it. We're down to Tara's questions. Tara says, are reptiles sensitive to any specific house cleaning products that you know of? For example, I know tarantulas are extremely sensitive to bleach. I never used it in the house when I had tarantulas. They're not super sensitive to bleach, and you can use bleach. What I do when I do use bleach on their cages is I just make sure it's dry, and then it's fine for snakes. But in general, these little snakes, whether they're little like Pip or large, they have very sensitive respiratory systems. So I try not to use anything that has a crazy smell to it. Like I don't use Windex on the windows. I use vinegar, which does have a crazy smell, but it's natural. It's not chemical. And I try to make sure that they're either out or, out of the cage or something. If I'm using vinegar on there, it's, I think I mix my vinegar half with water, 50% with water, something like that. But pretty much any chemical cleaner I wouldn't use on the cage other than Dawn dish soap, anything that's safe for animals, So that's that. I use Dawn dish soap to clean. That's the only thing that I use to clean. I use several different things to disinfect with, but for cleaning, it's Dawn dish soap. What do you guys use? Do you guys have anything that is safe for snakes? That's like Dawn dish soap, but something different. Kelly, thanks for the super chat. One of my new ball pythons is so scared, Bob, he musks. Is there any tips to use that I can help transition him better? I'm trying to give him extra time. He's been here over a month and I feel bad for him. A month is not very much time, Kelly. So don't worry about it. That's, you know, that's the thing. Sometimes when they're scared, they pee. They're not, ball pythons aren't really muskers, but they will pee if they're scared. I'm going to put Pip back here. Say goodbye to Pip, everybody. See her one more time. Look at these eyes. I don't know if you can see them, but pygmy python eyes are so cool. All right, I'm going to put her back. So just, you know, I have a number of videos on socialization, and it's understandable that a little snake would be scared. You know, a lot of times you get ball pythons that for some reason they're just bold right out of the egg, and we get used to that. But that's not, you know, even though that does happen sometimes with ball pythons, that's not really the default for a snake. A snake it crawls out of the egg, you know, with knowing that everything's trying to murder them. And so if you've got a snake that's really fearful and defensive or just balls up all the time, that's normal snake behavior. They're doing their snake thing, and it takes a while to get them used to you. So for a snake like that, limit the actual physical handling time. But if you can show them that you are a big scary monkey that is around but is not going to hurt them, it takes a while, but eventually they'll realize that you're okay, and then handling will not be a problem. But doing things like just sitting near the cage, you know, you might take off their hide if they're always in a hide. You might take off their hide, which is going to make them feel a little bit uncomfortable. But then just do some things in their cage without touching them, and then close the cage. You know, put their hide back and close the cage. But especially do that if they're already out of their hide. You know, you can kind of far away. Don't do anything right up close to them, but far away, you know, do some things, move some stuff around. You don't, you know, if you don't have anything to actually do in their cage, it doesn't matter. But let them see you doing stuff. And then I've got these other videos that you can watch that have some other tips. So don't worry though. That's normal snake behavior. They're just being a snake. Ghost One, thanks for the super chat. Shout out to Clint. Gave me so much info. You guys, Clint is a great guy to talk to about caging. I mean, here, you can ask him questions here, but also you can call Black Box Cages, or you can probably email is better. But Clint has tons of good information that he can suggest. You know, I get questions a lot about how to configure a cage and stuff like that, and I always try to, you know, I give him what I think, but I always defer to Clint because he's done this for so long. He's kept reptiles for so long, and has been building cages for a long time. He knows the stuff. He knows what to do and how to configure things. So good guy to talk to. All right. Next question. Oh, on the same lines from Tara, what about plugins that dispense scent? She was asking earlier. I talked for a long time, but she was asking earlier about cleaners. What about plugins that dispense scent? I wouldn't use a plugin because I just think, you know, a lot of times essential oils are not good for snakes. It depends on the essential oil, and I don't know which ones are good and which ones aren't, so I just don't use them at all. And a plugin would fall under that category as well. So Kevin says, okay, so this question is on the same lines, and I have kind of a different answer for this one. My other half likes to have scented tea light occasionally in the room. We're avoiding pine and cedar. The ball python is in the same room on the other side and clearly not in danger of exposed flame. For domestic bliss, are we okay with our snake and the occasional candle? we're not talking incense sticks here. Yeah, so here's the thing. Smoke is a problem. So incense filling the room is going to be a problem. Some essential oils are a problem. An occasional candle. I mean, there are people who keep snakes and don't even know that candles are bad for them, so they light candles all the time. And the snakes don't just keel over. You know, it's not great for their respiratory systems. But as long as you don't have a bunch of smoke in the room and you're not doing an essential oil that is bad for them, then it's okay to do occasionally. I use oh, what are they called? What are those? Somebody put it in the chat. It's a piece of wood that comes from Peru that you can light it, and it's kind of like incense, except it doesn't burn and burn and burn. It's just a quick burn. It's a wood from Peru that has a really great smell. I just can't think of what it's called. Somebody, if you know what I'm talking about, somebody put it in the chat. But I will use those for a second to quickly just make the room smell good. Palo Santo, thanks, Azara. Nice. Palo Santo wood. I have Palo Santo, and I used to, you know, before I had a lot of snakes, I'm an incense guy. I like candles. I like incense, all that kind of stuff, and I don't do that anymore. But I will run through real quick with a lit Palo Santo candle. Maybe I'll do it once a month or something like that. Okay, so that's that. Next question from Alessandra. Alessandra has 2 questions. Get my glasses on for these. Hang on. What are some things that we do that might be stressing out a snake without really realizing we are? So I think common things are playing with your snake every day, thinking that your snake wants to come out and hang out with you every day, and pulling them out of their hide where they're sleeping. That will stress them out without people realizing. I think a lot of people don't, you know, if you're not super keyed in onto snake behavior, it's hard to tell if they're stressing, you know. But that, you know, one thing that causes the snake stress is it's very common when we're putting the snake away to just tap their tail to get their tail in. And I'm even guilty of that sometimes. But the reason that works is the snake doesn't want their tail touched, and it startles them, and you know, so don't do that. Even though I have done that in the past to get a snake in, I try to be more patient and let them just do it on their own. And then I think, you know, one thing, you know, I talk about in some of my videos that snakes need a little bit of extra time to adjust. You know, I've said, you know, I've made the comparison of a dog, like a dog running into a room that they know. They can run into that room and they immediately know that they're in the room that they're familiar with. With a snake, it takes them a minute. So when I pull a snake out of their cage, it might take them a second to adjust. The other day, actually, when we were moving, we weren't ready to move the snakes in the cages yet, but Lucy was there, and I was bringing Stella out of her cage. I said, "You want to hold Stella?" And she said, "Yeah." So I bring Stella out of her cage, and Lucy reached for her, and I went, "Wait a second, let me just give her a minute to understand where she is." So she kind of crawled around. She tongue flicked on me a little bit, and as soon as I could feel like she wasn't stressed anymore, her body wasn't tense, and she understood where she was, then I handed her off to Lucy, and she hung out with Lucy for a while. So that's a thing that you know, if you just take your snake out and bring it from place to place to place, and they never get a sense of their bearings or understanding of where they're at, that's stressful for them. That was a long-winded answer, but it's an important one. Great question. Alessandra also asks, my snake has been climbing up on some cork bark that has been on the background and sitting there. Okay, so sitting on top of cork bark on the background. I used a temp gun to measure and it was 94 degrees. Is she just basking at night? Hot height is 88 to 89. You know, I wouldn't necessarily call it like intentionally basking, but at night, if the snake is given an opportunity to climb around, a lot of times they'll go up higher in the cage. You know, the inspector, that's a log that's permanently up about that high, and he'll sit up there occasionally, you know. So they just like to sit at a higher spot. My guess is if that spot was not as hot, your snake would probably still sit up there. So that's that. But, you know, 94 degrees for a short period of time is not that big of a deal. You know, they're fine. If the entire cage was that, or they couldn't get away from that if they wanted to, that'd be a problem. Where am I? Here we go. Corey says, when using a heat pad, should you always use a thermostat? Yes. Great question. Always a great question for brand new reptile keepers. Anything that creates heat has to have a thermostat. Otherwise, it just gets hotter and hotter and hotter and can burn your snake. So you've got to have something that controls the heat to keep it right at the level that that particular species needs it, because every species has a different sort of tolerance and a different level of heat that they're used to, that their bodies have evolved to tolerate. So thermostat is what does that for them. Betsy says, these are all, so Amy categorizes these for me. These are all heating and humidity questions that we're getting into. Betsy says, I ordered an enclosure that comes with a ball python kit. So that's a thing. Hold on one second. Okay, we're good. Ball python kits are interesting that come from pet stores. We'll talk about those in a second. So I ordered an enclosure that comes with a ball python kit, and we'll be planning on getting my first snake this coming winter. Okay, good. So you got some time. The kit includes a deep heat projector, a halogen lamp, but no thermostats. Is there a particular type or brand of thermostat that you recommend? How far from the heat source do you place the probes? Okay, so good question. Actually, that kit, if it came with a deep heat projector and a halogen lamp, that's great. Halogen lamps are actually good, but I wouldn't use them as the sole heat source, because you want to provide heat 24 hours and you want that lamp to go off, you know, for at night. So it sounds like the kit might be good, but a lot of times pet stores sell a ball python kit or whatever, you know, pick the reptile and it's the kit, and it's just wrong. It's just not the right stuff. So as far as the brand of thermostat, if you've got the money to spend, you could go with Herpstat or Vivarium Electronics. Those are the professional grade thermostats that, you know, snake people that have lots of snakes use. I have a bunch of them of both brands, controlling the heat on all of my snakes. But usually for someone with just one snake that you don't want to spend $150 or whatever on a thermostat, you can get like an Inkbird. Those work just fine. There are people that will say, oh, those are terrible, they don't work, you got to get a Vivarium Electronics. You don't have to. The Inkbird is fine. They work great. There are other thermostats that are similar that are not that brand, but you know, you can get a thermostat for I don't know, what are they, $30 or something? Or you can get a really good one for 150. You guys, my mom's in. She says, I'm ear. I'm guessing that she missed the H. She's saying she's here. Hi, Mom. Glad you're here. Welcome. There we go. Now here comes the flood of everyone saying hello, Mama Bledsoe. Glad you made it, Mom. So Inkbird, if you want to go cheap, it's fine. Vivarium Electronics or Herpstat, if you can spend the extra money, those are better. They're like they control the heat better, and they're not going to, you have a less chance of them failing on you. So Get the expensive one if you can afford it, is what I'm saying. Where am I at here? Oh, let's see. Did I finish answering that question? Oh, you're asking also how far from the heat source do you place your probes? I did a video and I looked up the title of it. I never remember the titles, but I looked it up for your question. The title is How to Set Up a Ball Python Cage. Look at that video. It's where I set up a ball python cage with the cutest nephew in the world. He and I set up his new ball python at my sister's house. And I talk specifically about how I place the probes. There are several ways to do it. You can ask Clint at Black Box Cages because he has a different way that he suggests to do it, which is also a super valid way of doing it. I do it on the side of the wall, and I show it in that video. So there you go. 2 good ways to do it. I wish I just, you know what I should do is have something that marks my place so I didn't spend so much time in the live stream searching for my place. I'm going to find it though, you guys. All right. Oh, I flipped pages, I think. Is that why I'm confused? Yeah, I flipped pages. Here we go. Justin says, I'm having a heck of a time with temps. Any type of bulb puts my snake's temps well above 95 degrees. So I took all the lamps out. That's probably good. She now runs in the mid 70s, which I know is low. I have a radiating heat emitter coming my way. Great, that'll help. Ideally, temps would be good, but in an imperfect world, is it better to have roasty snakes or chili snakes? Much better to have a chili snake because a roasty snake will kill them fast. Chili snake, you got to get them very cold before they die. But too much heat will definitely kill them, which is something that most people don't guess. I mean, people love to say that their snake loves heat, and you got to give it all as much heat as you can because they just love the heat, and they don't. They need heat to digest, and there's certain times that they want heat to be comfortable, but heat will kill them much faster than coolness will. Okay. Micah says, I just switched to a new build. So these are, the next 2 questions were super long. They were like they were this long. So I've condensed them. Basically, I mean, I'm going to try to condense them. Basically, Micah is saying he's got this new build, and he's wondering if the snake is too cold at a part of the build, will he move to a warmer location? Yes. Snakes are very good at finding the temperature that they want to be at. So yes, he'll move to a warmer location. The setup, so he spent some time telling me what he built, and the setup is arboreal, and the basking spot is at the top half of the setup, and the temps are perfect there. So if this is a ball python, I'm assuming it's a ball python. So arboreal setups are not ideal for ball pythons because they're not arboreal snakes. And when you say it's arboreal, I don't know how high that is, how tall that is, but if it's several feet off the ground, if we're talking a 4 to 6 to 8 foot high arboreal cage, that could be dangerous for the snake if they can get up that high and fall off that, because they will fall. You know, the inspector falls off that piece of wood all the time. They're just clumsy. So depending on how high it is, it could be unsafe, maybe. But then, you know, a lot of times they just want to be on the ground. So even though they'll use some climbing and they can get themselves up, a lot of times they just want to crawl into a hide that's on the ground. So if you have an arboreal setup, let's say you've got a 4-foot cage, but the snake's not going to be at the 4-foot point. Maybe they can get 2 or 3 feet off the ground. That's probably fine. You'll want to have something that provides heat in a hide that they're comfortable with hanging out in. And that's usually going to be on the ground floor. So you might have to adjust that arboreal cage a little bit. Just make sure that they can't get too high, that they can fall, and make sure that they can get to a hide that they're comfortable being in. You know, a lot of times, like during the day, they're going to sleep most of the day. Let's say your ball python sleeps 20 hours a day. Let's say it's 18 hours a day, something like that. They're gonna find the hide that they're most comfortable in. It's probably going to be on the ground. In the middle of the night when they come out, or dusk and dawn, let's say, when they come out, that's when they'll do their climbing around and such like that. But figure out what hide they are willing to spend time in, and then that's where you want the heat. And maybe it's a heat mat. I mean, I don't know what your cage is made out of. A heat mat might not work, but yeah. So you might have a little tweaking to do there. Oh, okay. Here's another thing that he says. The warm hide is currently on the ground floor below a basking light. Great. So that's where it should be. Change that basking light to a CHE or something, something that's a non-lighted heat source. That way you can have it going 24 hours and you're fine. You can, whatever lamp that basking light is screwed into, just pull that out and put a ceramic heat element in there, or ceramic heat emitter. I just dropped a temperature gun. Hang on, Amy's texting me. Taylor super chatted me and I missed it. Hang on. Thanks, Amy. Oh my gosh, this was a long time ago. Taylor, thanks for the super chat. Sorry that I missed it. I got to get a new snake out too, you guys. Good to see you on here, Taylor. I hope you and your menagerie are doing well. Greetings from the menagerie. I found out I'm pregnant. Oh my gosh. Congratulations. You guys, Taylor Alexis is pregnant. That's incredible. So a new Green Room fan is coming in April 2025. Also love the new reptile room. Taylor, I'm so happy for you and your family. That's amazing. Love it. Everybody tell Taylor congrats. That's fantastic. Can't wait to see that cute little baby. It's going to be a cute baby. That's amazing. Thanks for that super chat, and thanks for telling me that news. I love it. Mazel tov. It's the only time I say anything Jewish. Well, I guess for a wedding too, I would say mazel tov. You know, am I allowed to do that? Am I allowed to say mazel tov when I'm not Jewish? I think I can. I have plenty of Jewish friends. You know, they say mazel tov to me if something good happens. So. Okay, here's another question. Let's see. Right, here's another one that was very long. We're going to condense it. This is from Candy. I'm a new snake mom to 2 coolibrids. They are currently set up with under tank heat mats, but if I attempt to change their setup, it would have to be something that takes up very little vertical space on top of the enclosures. What would you suggest? So what I'm assuming you're asking is if you decide to change from heat mats to overhead heat and you don't want to take up too much room with your overhead, like a long heat lamp or something like that. First of all, I would say if the heat mats are working, there's really no need to change unless you're trying to give them some elaborate setup. And then something that doesn't take up a lot of vertical space would be a heat panel. So there are heat panels in all of these cages. You can see the one in this cage. In fact, let's just see if I can walk back there and show you guys. Maya, hi. So Maya has, you okay? Are you in food mode? What are you up to? So Maya's got a heat panel right here that goes from here to here. It's right here. And that heats her whole situation. Heat panels are great because they're about this thick, and they're really good. Let's see if Maya's in food mode. Here's how I can tell. If I touch her back and she arches immediately, that tells me she's in food mode. Let's see what happens. Oh, good. Oh, she's doing well. Hey, do you want to come out? Oh, there's the arch. Hi. It's not food. It's just me. It's just me. You guys, look how big Maya's getting. And look how beautiful this snake is. For those of you who know what black-headed pythons normally look like they don't have this beautiful black. I mean, I think, everybody has their own tastes in what they want in a black-headed python, but I love the black, dark black back, so cool. She's such a cool snake. So she's pretty hungry. She's looking for food. I'm not going to have her out for much longer because she is waiting on a meal. But man, how pretty is she, right? That shiny head. She yawned the other day and gave me the best shot of the blackness of the inside of her mouth. They're like black mambas in that the inside of their mouth and their tongue is black as well, which is pretty crazy. I just love this snake. And Banjo too, man. Banjo is not out right now, but I'll show you him if he comes out. He looks different than Maya, but he still has the black back like that. But he's got a longer sock on his neck. Like if you think of this black head as being a black sock, his goes down his neck further than Maya's, which is pretty cool. All right, I'm gonna put her back before she decides my arm might be food. There you go, Mama. I love that snake. Okay. It's just going to take me about 20 minutes to figure out where we're at again. Sorry about that. Oh, I see it. Here's Candy's other question. What is your suggestion for an app to keep track of weights, eating habits, and health concerns? I use Husbandry Pro. There's several apps out there, but I got Husbandry Pro, and that's what I use, and I like it. I'm not sponsored by them. I should be. Husbandry Pro, if you're watching, we should do a video because I do like their product. I just got it when I switched from using handwritten stuff. I needed an app, and Billy Rose at Mutation Creation had just bought into Husbandry Pro. I think he's part owner, and he was talking about it a lot on his channel. So I checked it out. It seemed cool. So I got it, and it is cool. I like it. It's got a lot of stuff. It's got a ton of functions that I'll never use, but like there's so much stuff you can do. It's great. It's great. It can be completely customized. You can use it with cattle. Like it doesn't have to be reptiles even. You can use it with whatever you want. It's really cool. All right. Callie says, what's a good way to keep the humidity high and prevent mold? I live where it's super dry, so I struggle to find a good middle ground. Depending on the product that you use, occasionally I get cocoa husk that I find will mold, but usually it doesn't. So I think maybe if it comes in with mold spores, and I don't think it's product specific. Like if you get, let's say you get Reptichip and it molds on you, I don't think it's fair to say Reptichip molds. I think occasionally you're going to find some chip with mold, but yeah. So the thing is, you've got to keep that moisture in your chip. I would use ReptiChip for, I mean, not necessarily ReptiChip, but cocoa husk based stuff. Right now I have in these cages, I've got Reptibark, which I've never used before, but I ran out of chip. So I had Cara run to the pet store while we were moving to get cocoa husk. Hang on, Amy. I see you. Are you flagging me down? Hang on. Let me finish the story and then I'll jump you in. So I've got this Reptibark. It's not good at holding the humidity. This place is drier. We're at 40% humidity right now, and my old place was usually around 50 and sometimes quite a bit higher than that. So I need to manage, and this has been lower. This has been down to 25% humidity in the middle of the day. So I need to manage my humidity a little bit better. The point is, to answer your question, there's a lot of people who live in Las Vegas, Arizona, different places where it's very dry and they keep snakes, tropical snakes or what do we call ball pythons? Sub-Saharan? Is that the word? I can't think of the word for it. They're not tropical, but snakes that need a little bit more humidity. There's a lot of people in those dry areas that keep animals like that successfully. And it's just a matter of making sure that their substrate has enough moisture mixed in. So spraying the top of the substrate does not work because it evaporates immediately. You've got to mix water into that substrate. And if you're in a humid area, you only have to do it once every couple of weeks. If you're in a dry area, you might have to do it twice a week, So it's that. Okay, I see a couple super chats. Let me get to Amy really quick. Hi, Amy.
Okay. I thought you were going to skip me.
Okay,
so I am one of those people that lives in a super dry climate and has problem with my ReptiChip molding and finding that balance. So tips for you guys who are in a similar situation. The chip tends to mold faster anywhere where something is sitting on top of it. So what I do is after I change out my chip, when I rehydrate a breeder block of ReptiChip, or whatever brand it is, cocoa husk, I put in all of my enclosures and then I just keep an eye on it and mix it, especially anywhere where there's something sitting on top of it, like a hide or a water dish specifically. You want to lift up your water dish and kind of move the substrate around, mix it up, bring the bottom stuff up to the top stuff down to the bottom. That just helps it, the stuff that doesn't see any air, it helps it get a little bit of air and molts less quickly. Or not at all. But mix it. It's definitely a little bit more of a process than just throwing in new chip and only mixing it when you have to up the humidity or whatever. But it's better than having moldy chip. Oh man, I'm the only person on this live stream now. What's up, guys? You guys want to hear a funny story? You know how I asked my husband earlier in this live stream to bring me more cucumbers? When my little ball python pooped on me and I went upstairs to put him away, I came downstairs and my dog had eaten almost all of the cucumbers that my husband brought me. So that was unfortunate, but not the end of the world. Oh, you're back.
Thanks for that. I had to run to the bathroom anyway, so I appreciate you taking up time. I don't know why I'm blurry all of a sudden. I'm going to put this mic back on. There we go. Why am I blurry? Hang on. There we go.
There you are.
So, Amy, that's a great point that you made that I don't even think about anymore. That the reason that I, when I put a water dish down or anything that takes up any floor space, I move I don't ever put it on top of substrate. And it's because it molds if you do that. And that's not even something that I think about anymore. I just do it automatically. I move the substrate away from anything I'm putting down because it'll create
I always check the day after I do a full fresh chip like get rid of the old stuff, put new stuff in, I always check for a couple days afterwards to make sure that, oh my gosh, my husband's bringing me more cucumbers. He's the best. I always check, like I always lift up hides and everything to make sure that the chip's not molding around the edges of the hide because I definitely don't want that like close to my snake either. So, but I always check.
Cool. Great point that you brought up. Thanks for that. I'm going to get to these other super chats. Thanks, Amy.
Okay.
How cool is Amy, right, you guys? Okay. Ghost, thanks for the super chat. Unbranded organic cocoa chips at the hardware store. Yeah, if you can find them at the hardware store, grab them. If it's just cocoa chips with nothing in it, that's a great point. You can get all kinds of stuff at the hardware store that you can use for reptiles, as long as you make sure there's nothing else in there that's crazy, for so much cheaper. Because if it's made specifically for reptiles, they're going to charge you a lot of money for it. So good point, Ghost. Thanks for that. Johnny John, thanks for the super chat. Can you please do your best impression of Kent? This is a great question. I always have had a hard time doing an impression of Kent. I tried to do it in the Amazon jungle. I failed. Let me just try. Hang on. If I just, hello, my name is Kent, and no, it doesn't sound like him. It's too. I can't even do it. It's weird. He's my twin brother. I've never been able to do an impression of him. Crazy. Thanks for the super chat, though. I'm sorry that I wasn't able to do a good one. Nyasha, thanks for the super chat. Nyasha says, I have a young ball python that is not a good eater. I'm debating switching her to a smaller cage. Could that help? She's currently in a 4x2. Yeah, so it kind of depends. If it's a brand new snake that you just got from a breeder and the snake hasn't eaten yet, then yes, it's probably because the snake is in too big of a cage. Still, if you just got the snake and let's say you've had it for a couple months and it's only eaten 2 meals, maybe it's not, you may just need to clutter up the cage a little bit better to make the snake more comfortable with eating. Usually that trick of moving them to a small tub, like you go from the big cage to a small tub like this that the breeder may have had them in as a just crawled out of the egg hatchling. This is what they're used to being in. That kind of thing works sometimes. But that's usually if the snake has not eaten for you. You've had them for several weeks now and they're refusing meal after meal. They're nervous about being in such a big enclosure. So yeah, possibly, depending on what your situation is, I guess. But I have a few videos on the channel that talk about how to get snakes back on food that might help. Also, make sure that you are offering the snake the same thing that the breeder was giving them. So if they were giving them mice and you're trying to give them rats, that's going to cause them to not eat. So that should help. All right. Moving forward. Okay. So Kathy asked the same question, basically. I'm in Tucson and in contemplating diving into the snake world. How would I create necessary humidity in an enclosure when the ambient humidity is 5% or less? Yes. So same answer we just went over. But the other thing I would say is that a PVC enclosure is going to do much better than a fish tank for humidity because of the screen top on a fish tank. You're going to lose all your humidity through that. And a PVC enclosure usually has vents on the side and the back, and you can cover those vents. You can just take some gaff tape or something like that and tape the outside, not on the inside where the snake is, but the outside of the cage. You can tape enough vents shut. You still want to have some ventilation, but you can tape like half the vents so the humidity stays. If you need to, sometimes you won't even need to do that. So I'm seeing Jason just type this right now. JQ will be at Animal Con, I believe. That is true. Jason, thanks for plugging that. I will be at Animal Con. We talked about that in the very beginning of the show. I'll be at both Clint's Reptile Room one week and then Animal Con the next week. So come see me if you're in Utah or Orlando. Clint's is the last weekend of September. Animal Con is the first weekend, but I think it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 3 days of October. Whatever those dates are. Okay, next question. Now we're on to feeding questions. So Phil asked this question already. He super chatted it. So we covered his feeding question. So Phil, the other thing I'll say though about this, the question is, I picked up my first baby clown. Congratulations, by the way, on that pickup. Her weight is 115 grams. What size rodent do I want to start her off on? Or actually, I don't know if I answered this one for you. I just picked up frozen fuzzy rats. Hope that's okay. So actually, I don't think this is the question that I answered for you. A young snake of just over 100 grams can eat rat pups, but hopper mice, fuzzy mice would be too small. Oh, you said fuzzy rats. Okay. So fuzzy rats, I guess, are a size. I don't know what fuzzy rats are. But them, you might be saying rat pups. Hang on. I'm trying to think of, because I've never ordered fuzzy rats, but that might be a thing. Oh yeah. Okay. That's one size smaller than a rat pup. So that's fine. That's fine. I just looked at the Lane Labs website. I've never ordered fuzzy rats. So hopper mice, fuzzy rats are probably fine, but they could also take a rat pup. That's one size bigger. But check with what the breeder was feeding them, because that's what you want to feed your snake. If the breeder was feeding them fuzzy rats, then a rat is what you want to feed them, whether it's a fuzzy rat or a rat pup. But maybe they were feeding hopper mice or small mice. And then you want to stick with that, at least for the first feeding or two, before you switch them to rats. So that's that. And then how often should I feed her? Oh, that's the question that I answered for you on the super chat. And we talked about that every 5 days is kind of what breeders feed their snakes for a little while, just to make sure that they're going to eat every time, just to get them used to eating food. But every 7 days is just fine. Once you get your snake and it's an established snake, feeding every 7 days is great. So Mark says we're only a few questions away on this one, you guys. We're 2 hours into the live stream. We're doing good. Oh, should we get another snake out, by the way, before we get to these last 4 questions? Let's see what Amy is requesting. If you guys have any requests, throw them in there. So we got Damara and Pip out. Amy's asking for Banjo, Tiger Lily, Dolly, Freya, or Lucille. And I mentioned Banjo. He's not out right now. Let's see what other people say real quick. I'm seeing Travis say this. Travis, urate's RP. Yes, that is when a snake pees, that calcified urate, that's calcified urine, basically. That white stuff, that is pee. So I'm hearing Anya, Stella. Is Stella out? Oh, she is out. We can get Stella. Hi there, young lady. Look at, she comes right out to see what's going on. Hello. Do you want to come out? You went for a swim. Your head's all wet. You've been swimming, I can tell. The evidence is on your head right now. She is ready for food. She's over 2 weeks since she last ate food. So she would like some. And she's going to get some tomorrow. So here's Stella. It's another snake that I just love this. I just love this snake. Both my super dwarves are so cool. And I highly recommend a super dwarf reticulated python. For those who want a snake and also want to put up with some shenanigans. Hi there, lady. She's been out cruising around the room a little bit, but I have been following her around and have not been letting her get into much trouble because the room is not ready yet for free roaming. So we do a very supervised free roam at this point. Okay. We'll grab a ball python next, but I'll let Stella do her thing for a minute. Mark is asking, how long should I keep rats or mice in the freezer? Is there a certain time frame where they start to go bad? Yeah, I think if you go on like Lane Lab's website, I think in their FAQ section, they talk about that. But I think it's like between 9 months and a year. You know, I think if I've got rodents that have been in there for, if we're coming up on a year, I'm usually not going to feed them off, you know. But it depends on your freezer. It depends on, like a deep freeze, you can go longer. So, but they can be in there for a while. It's like any meat, you know. You want to make sure that you're feeding your snakes something that's not bad, you know. And it's like any meat. If you would have, you know, you put beef in the freezer for a certain period of time. Although I think, you know, if you've got a whole prey item in the freezer, I think it could be worse than if you have just meat in the freezer. You know, like as far as it going bad, that could be a worse situation. So fortunately, I have enough snakes that I don't ever have anything in the freezer for longer than several months. So except I do have some reptilinks in the freezer that look pretty freezer burned that I'm probably going to toss. They've been in there for a while because reptilinks are something that I don't feed regularly. So check out Lane Lab's website, their FAQ for that, because they're going to give some probably better guidelines than me just talking off the top of my head, you know. Stella, look at you being so curious. Captain Dummy Talk asks, could you please do me a favor? Tell me to stop worrying about money and start making purchases towards my next snake. With the spouse, I only one income now. I'm finding it difficult to move forward with my plans. Thanks in advance. All right. I mean, Captain Dummy Talk, I could tell you that to just don't worry about it. Just get whatever snake you want to get. But I also feel like you should not cause yourself financial stress by buying more animals. And I think that, you know, there's a thing about buying whatever reptile or whatever animal you're into, but it's usually with reptiles because these are easy to take care of, right? Like if you're into horses, buying another horse is a big commitment. Whereas we know that snakes are pretty easy to take care of. So it's easy to go, man, remember that feeling I had last time I got a new snake? I kind of want that feeling again. You know, things aren't going great in my life, so I kind of want that feeling again. Let me just get a new snake. And that maybe is not always the best thing to do. However, I also am always encouraging people to buy snakes. You know, Will at CNC Python Factory has too many snakes if you ask him, but I think he should get more. Well, I'm totally kidding. I don't think you should get more. But yeah, don't cause yourself financial stress. But as long as you can get a snake without feeling stressed about the finances, get your snake. There is, I mean, you know, now we're getting into a serious discussion about things, but a lot of times though, I think that that's a common thing is people get so excited and they're so happy when they get a new snake, and then that feeling wears off, and next time their life isn't going great or they're not feeling great about themselves or whatever, they're like, let me just get a new snake because that made me feel really good. You know, so I think that's when people end up getting too many snakes. So on the serious note, be aware of that. See if there's something else that you could change about your life that would make you feel better before just collecting more and more snakes. You know, that being said, it's not a problem as long as you can take care of those snakes. It's not a big deal. You know, get whatever snakes you want to get. But a lot of times people get to a point where they have trouble caring for, you know, they have so many that they have trouble caring for everything. So that's when it becomes a problem. All right. Enough of that serious talk. Wendy, thanks for the super chat. Which brand of rubber enrichment balls do you buy? Are they the jumbo size or do the snakes get stuck in them? I want to get one for my snake. It's yeah. So the brand is I think there's only one brand that I know of, and it's called a Holy Roller Ball. They're at pretty much any pet store, like major pet store, or you can get them on Amazon. And I have several different sizes. The mediums, you know, a ball python will get stuck in a medium. So I tend to get the larges now, and you can't, you know, you can only give them to juvenile ball pythons. I've got a medium right now in Handsome Dan's cage. That little, you can barely see it, but it's a purple ball. That's always in his cage because he loves it, and he's not big enough to get stuck in it now. When I say he loves it, I mean he uses it a lot. And a slender snake like this is going to do fine crawling through them. But you don't, you know, their snakes are pretty good at squishing their body, but you don't want them to get too squished. Okay. All right, lady. Enough of you. She is so long now, you guys. She is such a long snake. She is dang close to 6 feet. You know, when I watch YouTube videos and people say how big their snake is, they are always underestimating the length of their snake. You know, they'll go, oh, this is a 5-foot snake. And it's definitely not, because you look at their cage and you compare the length of the snake to the cage, and you can tell how long they are. Now, Stella does not look like a big snake, but she's in a 5-foot cage, and she's at least a foot longer than that cage is, which means that she's a 6-foot long snake, even though she's not very big, you know? So I think that a lot of people underestimate the length of their snake if they're hoping that it's a smaller snake. But then the people with big reticulated pythons, they're like, yeah, this is a 27-foot retic, and it's like 18 feet, you know? So a lot of people overestimate too. But it's funny because it's whatever their mindset is, whether they want to tell people that it's a smaller snake or a bigger snake. They're not trying to be deceptive. I think it's just what they want their snake to be. I don't ever measure my snakes really, but I try to look at their length compared to their cage, because I know what the length of their cage is, you know? Anyway, Stella here is deceptively long, because just sitting in my hand, she doesn't look like she's 5.5 to 6 feet. I'd say she's she's probably closer to 5.5. She may not be 6 feet yet, but she is longer than her 5-foot cage for sure. All right. Where are we at? As she attempts to destroy my hat. Elizabeth asks a great question. We're down to the last 2 questions, you guys. Elizabeth wants to know, would you rather have a prehensile tail like some monkeys, or ears that could swivel like a cat or a fox? Definitely ears that could swivel. And the reason is that what are you going to do? I mean, a prehensile tail is useful, right? But if I'm the only human that I mean, maybe there are other humans occasionally that are born with a tail, but let's say I have a fully functional long prehensile tail. What am I going to do with that? Am I going to have it out? So I don't think I want it out. I don't think I want people to see it. And then if I have it in my pants, people are going to be like, what do you got in your pants, dude? What is that? I don't want that. But ears that swivel, now I hear back there. Now I hear here. I can hear people talking about me. That's what I want. Ears that swivel, for sure. Last question. Azara says, if you could be any snake for a day, what kind of snake would you be? It's a great question. The two that come to mind right now are number one, cobra, king cobra, which is not a cobra, not in the cobra family, but a king cobra because they're large and they just, I don't think anything's going to mess with me. I got 24 hours as a snake. I don't want to be messed with. I want to be able to defend myself. King cobra. I think that's my answer. My other answer was a flying snake because I want to glide through the air. But I feel like I could take that glide. Let's say I'm in hour 6 and I'm like, okay, I think I'm ready to try this gliding thing. Jump out of a tree. Let's say I'm in Vietnam. I think they live in Vietnam. Jump out of a tree. Hawk grabs me. Oh, great. Well, now my 24 hours is cut short and my entire life is cut short because I wanted to be a flying snake. King cobra. That's my answer. That's it, you guys. Those are the Patreon questions. Let's, Stella's so comfortable now. I was going to say, let's look at some other snakes, which we will do. But I want to see what Stella's going to do for a second. Let me just, if she's going to relax for a minute, let me let her relax because it's very rare that she relaxes. She's kind of a troublemaker. Okay. So what do you guys think of the new sort of setup? This is going to change, by the way. It's probably going to change 5 times before I like it. Usually above this cage, I have the Green Room Pythons banner. I don't think I'm going to put that back up. But I put up this other thing that my sister brought home from Africa many years ago. And I love it, but it's too small. So I got to change that. Something needs to go on the wall there, but I got to change it. I may change the configuration of the cages at some point. I don't know. It's going to take me a while to figure it all out. But that's what happens when you move. Amy says, don't change it. Amy says she loves the setup. Don't change it. Okay. Tell you what, Amy, when you come visit, you can make suggestions. You can decide what needs to be changed. But I probably will still change some stuff. All right. I'm going to put young Stella back. Need to try to do this without destroying my hat. Hold on, young lady. There we go. She really is. She's just a very long snake, long, skinny snake, which is how reticulated pythons are supposed to be. They're supposed to be long and thin, and they're supposed to have a defined neck. Do you see how Stella? It's like humans. You should be able to tell your head from your neck, right? You see how you can tell the shape of Stella's head from her neck? That's important with reticulated pythons, whether they're a super dwarf or a mainland. They shouldn't look like a freaking football player at their neck. Hi, Stella. All right, let's put you back. I tell you what, you guys, I do not like this Reptibark. At least for my purposes. I'm not saying it's a bad substrate. I'm sure, especially if you mix it with something, it's better. But it loses its humidity quickly. we needed something, and we didn't have ReptiChip available when I set these snakes up. So we just got this Reptibark, and I don't like it. Okay, there was another request for Anya. There she is. You know, in my opinion, the best pastel combination, you know, people talk bad about pastel a lot, but the best thing you can put in a pastel, or the best thing that you can put pastel into, is axanthic. Because come on, how beautiful is this young lady right here? Let's see if I can get the camera to focus on her. There we go. A pastel axanthic snake. She's, you know, she's not quite breeding size yet, but she's basically an adult. And, you know, you can tell that she's browned out a little bit. She doesn't look like a stormtrooper, but how beautiful is that with pastel? Such a delightful snake. I mean, morph is always secondary to me. I'm all about their personality and such. And Anya is just, ever since I unboxed her, she's just the sweetest snake. Really cool. Valerian, I'll show Freya. We'll pull Freya out. Freya is right above Anya. She's in shed, though, I think. Let me see if I'm right. Oh, yeah, she's definitely in shed. You know what? I don't want to pull her out because she's she's fully in shed. Her face is all swollen. I saw a thing, you know, I want to do a video about misinformation on Facebook groups. I saw a thing. I can't remember what specifically the original question was, but it had to do with somebody had a snake with a swollen face, and I don't remember what the question was, but one of the answers was that the snake is not in shed because a swollen face is not something that happens when a snake is in shed. And it absolutely is. That is definitely what happens when snakes are in shed. You don't notice it on every snake, but they for sure get a swollen face when they're in shed. I mean, just the opposite of correct information being spewed on a Facebook group. Johnny John is asking for Kata. Well, hi there, little Miss Kata. You can come say hi for a second. Kata is even more shy. I had her out this morning, and she seemed even more shy than she normally is. I think the move was stressful for some of these snakes. I think for a few of them it didn't matter. You know, maybe the retics it didn't really matter, but for a snake, especially like Kata, who is already shy, it probably wasn't the greatest thing for her, you know. Hey there, young lady. But you know, we bring her back to sort of normal stuff, you know, handle her a little bit. Like, even though she doesn't necessarily want to be handled, she's used to it. She knows that it's me when I do it, so this is kind of normal stuff for her. And then we put her back where she wants to be. She's a nice lady, just a little bit more shy than everybody else. Okay, I think we're going to end this live stream soon. I don't think we need to go 3 hours with it. At this point, we're 2.5 hours in. Amy has something to say. Hi, Amy.
Hello.
You got food in your mouth.
I do. Not anymore. I swallowed it.
Right at the right time.
Your super cute mom and I want a tour of the green room.
Okay. You guys can have a tour of the green room. I mean, I'm not going to do it on this live stream.
Oh, yeah. That's what we're talking about.
Oh.
Live stream tour.
It's, you know, the house is not set up yet. I've got these cages set up. I've got the racks that the camera is in set up, but I have a ton of boxes. I mean, I've got a bunch of boxes back in the corner because it's been so hot that I don't even want to walk outside to bring boxes to the dumpster. So I've got a lot to do before I do any fancy tours of anything. But I'll tell you this, that's the best looking part of things. Everything else is just, I've got some racks here in the corner. That's it.
Fantastic. There's the tour, guys. We did it.
I'll do also,
your mom has been dropping so much good knowledge in the chat today, and you've missed it every single time.
Has she really?
Proud. I'm so proud. Mama Bledsoe, I'm so proud of you. Yeah. Somebody asked if Stella and Echo were related, and she was like, Stella and Echo are not related. They're from two completely different localities. I was like, proud. I'm so proud.
Mom, I'm very proud too. That's great. They are different localities. They do look very similar, though. For those wondering, Echo is a mix of a few localities. She's 50% Karampa, 25% Kalatoa, and then she's got some other stuff sprinkled in. And Stella is 100% Kalatoa. So they're from totally different bloodlines. Yeah. All right.
12.5% Solaire is the other thing on Stella.
That's right. She's got a little bit of Solaire in her. That's true. Well done, Amy. All right, I'm removing you, but thanks for that, Amy. I appreciate it. Bye. Okay. Does anybody have any does anybody have any wish to see any other snake before we end this live stream? This has been, I'm going to put this little snake back, Miss Anya. This has been such a nice live stream, you guys. I'm glad that I got to, it's so great that I got to do this live stream a month later from a new place. You know, the last live stream I was pretty stressed at the last live stream because I didn't know where I was going to move, and I knew that I had to move. So this is great to do it from the new place. And I love that you all are here for it. What do we got? Banjo. I can pull Banjo out. We'll do it because I did pull out Stella. I mean Maya. So we'll pull Banjo out. Let me do this Purell. I like to Purell my hands between every few snakes at least, you know. All right, Banjo, let's find him. It's always a guess. He has several hides, and it's always a guess to figure out where he's at because he uses them all sort of equally. Oh, I guessed right. I guessed right. Hey, little man. Oh, my goodness, you're all curled up just like a lasso. You're like a Indiana Jones whip. Look at him. He's an Indiana Jones whip. This guy is so freaking cute. Hold on, let's let him wake up for a second. Get his bearings. So the reason I got him from my friend Mike Roscoe, who owns the reptile shop, and Mike breeds some snakes and he works with a lot of breeders. He did not produce Banjo. Can't remember the guy's name who did, but I talked to Mike at a reptile show, and he knew that I was looking for a black-headed python, and he showed me a picture, and I was like, I think that's the one that I want. because again, we've got this dark black back, which I really like in black-headed pythons. It's not very common. You know, normally you see more of the cream color in a black-headed python. They just have sort of cream color stripes, but I love that dark black back. But he's also got this, as soon as he turns his head a little bit, he's got a longer black sock on his face than Maya has. Azara, thanks for the super chat. I'm so happy you have a new home. Congrats on the first stream in the new setup. Oh, thanks so much, Azara. I appreciate that. That's really sweet. So Banjo, the other thing about Banjo, I just looked at, I was wondering yesterday how big Maya was when I first got Maya, and she was 300 grams. And the last time I weighed Banjo, he was 297 grams, but he's probably had 7 meals or so since then. So he's actually bigger now than Maya was. look at Maya back there. Bigger than Maya was when I first got her. And he's growing fast. He is growing fast. I would say that in 2 years, I'll be able to pair them together. I need him to be close to her size so that she doesn't see him as food. And I mean, he's not ready to breed. He's not old enough or mature enough yet to breed anyway, but he will be. He'll probably be mature enough in 6 months, you know, but he won't be big enough. So it's one of those things. These are snake eaters, and you got to be careful. I don't think it's common that you know, one snake eats the other, but it could happen. So you got to be careful. You got to do it smart. But this guy has never. He's bluff struck at me before, and it's always when he's in shed. He gets real defensive when he's in shed, and he bluff strikes. But he's never bitten me, and he's never mistaken me for food, which is something that Maya has done since she was young, mistaken me for food. So she's better about it now. Now that even if she's in food mode, once she knows it's me, she won't go for it. But it takes her a while to realize that it's me. So I've got to be careful with her. But Banjo doesn't do that. So far, he might change, you know, snakes change. But so cool, these black-headed pythons. All right, you guys, I think we did it. We did a 2 hour, and we're 2 hours and 38 minutes in. I think we've done it. Amy, thanks for being here. You're
welcome.
Oh, you did alert me to one super chat. Taylor's super chat you had to alert me to. I did pretty good though at catching my own super chats, right?
You did pretty good today.
Yeah. I appreciate you. You added some really cool information also to this live stream. So thanks for being here.
You're welcome.
All right, you guys. I'll see you in the next video, but I'll see you in the next live stream, which will be several weeks from now. Thanks for being here. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.